Welcome, listener, to another deep dive into the esoteric and unsettling.
Yes.
Today we're delving into the murky depths where music and the demonic collide.
Fascinating.
It's a realm of shadowy pacts and forbidden melodies.
Indeed.
Our source for this rather eerie exploration is an article from the Spanish website El Espejo Gótico.
The Gothic Mirror.
Yes, the Gothic Mirror. And it tells the tales of three musicians who allegedly sold their souls to the devil.
Oh.
For musical genius.
It's a theme that's recurred throughout history, hasn't it?
It has. And you know, it's interesting how the artistic spirit often seems to attract these
darker forces.
Yes, these darker forces.
It's as if the very act of creation,
yes,
pushing boundaries, expressing raw emotion, it opens a door to something beyond our understanding.
It's like a dangerous bargain, isn't it?
It is indeed.
The article actually touches on this connection briefly, mentioning figures like the Marquis de Sade and Casanova, who are both linked to the demon Zornio, and even Oscar Wilde, the celebrated playwright, was said to have an affinity with the demon Asmodeo.
Quite a collection of figures.
They are. I mean, what do you make of these connections?
It's just certainly fascinating to consider. I mean, the Marquis de Sade, known for his, shall we say, unconventional explorations of pleasure and pain.
Yes.
And Casanova, a man who seemed to possess almost supernatural charm.
Yes.
And magnetism.
It's as if they...
And Wilde with his wit. As sharp as a demon's tongue. It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does.
Perhaps they simply embodied this kind of rebellious spirit, a willingness to challenge societal norms.
Yes.
It was just sort of misconstrued as demonic influence.
It's possible, but you can't deny the power of these stories.
No, you can't.
And when we talk about pacts with the devil, the story of Faust immediately comes to mind.
Ah, yes.
A man willing to trade his soul.
His very soul.
Yes, for worldly desires, power, knowledge, even love.
The classic Faustian bargain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And our article suggests that these three musicians we're going to discuss, they struck a similar deal.
They did.
But not for worldly power or romantic pursuits.
No.
But for something far more intriguing.
Which is?
Superhuman talent.
Superhuman talent.
Yes. The article highlights three common traits among these musicians.
Okay.
First, exceptional talent that seems to defy explanation.
Right.
Second, meteoric success that burns brightly.
Yes.
But briefly. And often a tragic and untimely demise.
Almost like a curse disguised as a blessing.
Yes.
A sleeting taste of glory with a bitter aftertaste.
It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is.
So let's start with our first musician.
Okay.
Robert Johnson.
Ah, Robert Johnson.
A name whispered in hushed tones among blues aficionados.
Yes, his story is shrouded in mystery, isn't it?
It is.
A young man from Mississippi yearning to play the blues encounters a mysterious stranger at a crossroads.
At a crossroads.
Some say it was the devil himself.
And the stranger, after tuning Johnson's guitar, plays a few haunting tunes, music that seemed to come from another world.
Another world entirely.
Yes.
And Johnson, captivated by this otherworldly music, begs the stranger to teach him. And the stranger agrees, but at a terrible price.
Of course.
Johnson's soul.
Now, whether this encounter truly happened or is simply folklore, it's undeniable that Johnson possessed an extraordinary talent.
Oh, yes.
His music, raw and powerful, seemed to emanate from a well of emotion far deeper than his limited formal training would suggest.
It's true.
And let's not forget his song, Me and the Devil Blues.
Oh, yes.
The lyrics speak of walking side by side with the devil, a chilling testament to the darkness that some believe fueled his music.
It's as if he was haunted by the pact he made.
Haunted by the pact.
Yes.
I find it interesting that the article even suggests that the legend of Robert Johnson might be a retelling of an even older myth surrounding another blues man, Tommy Johnson.
Tommy Johnson.
Who also claimed to have met the devil at a crossroads.
At a crossroads.
It adds another layer of intrigue to these tales, doesn't it?
It does indeed.
As if the crossroads themselves hold some sort of sinister significance.
A sinister significance.
And the world of the blues.
Absolutely. And speaking of Tommy Johnson,
yes,
film buffs might recall his presence
Oh, yes.
in the Coen brothers film, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Yes.
It seems these tales of crossroads, encounters, and infernal pacts have a way of weaving themselves into popular culture.
They do. From the dusty crossroads of Mississippi, we travel across time and continents to 18th century Italy, where we encounter Giuseppe Tartini, a violinist who, in his early years, struggled to master his instrument.
I can imagine.
Imagine him plagued by self-doubt, seeking solace in the realm of dreams. And in his dreams, the devil appears.
The devil appears.
Playing a sonata of such exquisite beauty and complexity that Tartini is utterly awestruck.
I can only imagine.
He awakens with the memory of the music vivid in his mind, desperately trying to capture the devil's melody before it fades.
Before it fades from his memory.
This dream, or perhaps vision, inspired what is now known as the Devil's Trill Sonata.
The Devil's Trill Sonata.
A piece so technically demanding.
It is.
That some say it requires a violinist with 6 fingers.
6 fingers.
To play it flawlessly.
Like the devil's finger mentioned in the article.
Yes, this extra digit, often
associated with the demonic.
Yes, with the demonic, seems to represent the supernatural influence that some believe guided Tartini's hand.
Guided his hand.
As he composed.
It adds a chilling layer to the story, doesn't it?
It does.
As if the sonata itself is imbued with a power.
Yes.
Beyond human comprehension.
Beyond human comprehension.
But our journey through the shadowy world of demonic music isn't over yet.
No.
We have one more maestro to meet. One whose virtuosity set tongues wagging. And whose very presence seemed to electrify the air.
Yes.
With a hint of the infernal.
Niccolo Paganini.
Paganini.
A name synonymous with breathtaking skill, but also with those persistent whispers of a dark pact that followed him.
Followed him throughout his career.
Throughout his career. Should we delve into his story now, or would you like a moment to gather your thoughts, dear listener, before we descend further
into this unsettling symphony?
Paganini's story is simply too captivating to resist.
It is.
His virtuosity on the violin was unbelievable. And perhaps when something seems almost impossible, the mind naturally seeks an explanation.
An explanation.
Even a supernatural one.
It's human nature, I think, to try to rationalize the extraordinary.
Right.
And Paganini's talent was so exceptional.
It was.
So far beyond the norm.
Yes.
That those whispers of a pact with the devil were almost inevitable.
They were. Imagine a young Niccolo, driven by his ambitious father, already composing intricate violin pieces as a child. He performs in churches, his music echoing through those sacred spaces.
Yes.
And even then, people are struck
by his brilliance.
By the sheer brilliance of his playing.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. The article talks about Paganini's rivals.
Right.
Consumed by envy, unable to comprehend how a mere mortal could achieve such mastery.
They couldn't understand it.
They spread rumors, fanning the flames of suspicion.
Paganini became a victim of his own genius.
It seems that way. A double-edged sword indeed. The more successful he became, the more the rumors intensified.
Like a shadow that clung to him.
Like a shadow.
Obscuring his extraordinary achievement.
A very chilling account from the poet Heinrich Heine.
Oh, yes.
He claimed to have seen a shadowy figure.
A shadowy figure.
Standing behind Paganini as he played. Now, whether this was a figment of Heine's imagination or a deliberate piece of stagecraft orchestrated by Paganini himself.
Possibly.
It certainly adds to the mystique. Surrounding the violinist.
It does. And it's almost as if Paganini embraced the rumors. Played with the fear and fascination that they evoked.
Perhaps he recognized the power of such a reputation.
It's possible.
The way it drew people in. Captivated by the idea of witnessing something.
Yes.
Both beautiful and dangerous.
His performances were mesmerizing.
They were.
His fingers flew across the strings
with impossible speed.
And precision.
Some even claim that his music had a hypnotic effect. Inducing trances.
Yes.
And even seizures in the audience.
I can see how those tales would take root.
It's easy to see the combination of his extraordinary talent and his rather eccentric personality.
Yes, his gaunt appearance.
Yes.
Piercing gaze. Long flowing black hair.
It must have created quite a spectacle.
It must have. And then there were the technical innovations that he introduced to violin playing.
Tell me about those.
He was a master of using harmonics with staccato and double stops.
Yes.
Techniques that were considered quite radical at the time.
And this just added...
It added to the perception that he possessed some otherworldly knowledge, some secret pact with the forces of darkness.
Of course. Even in death, the rumors persisted.
They did.
The church initially refused to grant Paganini
Refused him.
a Catholic burial,
Yes.
deeming him too closely associated with the devil.
Too closely associated with the devil.
Can you imagine the injustice?
It's hard to fathom.
Denied a proper burial
Denied a proper burial.
because of suspicions surrounding his talent?
It's a stark reminder of the power of fear and superstition.
It is.
Here was a man who had dedicated his life to music. Yet, even in death, he was judged and condemned.
Judged and condemned.
Based on speculation and hearsay.
It took 4 years for the Pope to finally intervene,
4 years.
allowing Paganini's remains
Yes.
to be laid to rest on consecrated ground.
A rather tragic end.
A tragic end.
For a musician who had given so much to the world.
But perhaps in a way, this only adds to his legend.
It does.
The enduring mystery surrounding his life and death. The whispers of a pact with the devil.
It all contributes to the fascination
Yes.
that we still hold for Niccolo Paganini.
He remains a figure of both brilliance and darkness.
Brilliance and darkness.
A reminder that genius often walks hand in hand
Hand in hand.
with the shadows.
3 extraordinary musicians.
They were.
Each leaving an indelible mark
Yes.
on the world with their incredible talent. And each forever entwined
Forever entwined.
with those whispers of pacts made in the shadows.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
How these tales persist.
They do.
Generation after generation.
Generation after generation.
Captivating our imaginations. And forcing us to confront that age-old question.
Which is,
What price are we willing to pay?
what price are we willing to pay?
For greatness.
For greatness. And are we truly masters of our own destinies?
Or are there forces at play?
Forces at play.
Beyond our comprehension.
Beyond our comprehension.
Influencing our paths in ways.
In ways.
we may never fully understand.
Perhaps those are questions best left unanswered.
Unanswered.
Left to linger in the silence.
In the silence.
That follows the final note
Yes.
of a haunting melody.
Of a haunting melody. It's unsettling, isn't it? These tales, these whispers of pacts.
Yes.
And demonic influence.
They tap into something primal, I think.
They do.
A fascination with the unknown. A fear of forces beyond our control.
And perhaps that's why they continue to resonate with us.
I think so.
Even in our modern, supposedly rational world.
Yes. There's a part of us
There is.
that still wonders if there might be something more to these stories.
More than meets the eye.
Something lurking beneath the surface of reality.
The article doesn't offer any definitive answers, of course.
It doesn't.
It simply presents these accounts and leaves us to draw our own conclusions.
Which is perhaps what makes it so thought-provoking.
I agree.
It invites us to examine our own beliefs
Yes.
about talent ambition and the price of greatness.
Is exceptional talent something innate?
Right.
A gift bestowed upon a select few?
Is it a gift?
Or could it be attained through other, perhaps less savory means?
It makes you wonder about the nature of inspiration itself.
It does.
Where do these creative sparks come from?
Yes, where do they come from?
Are they purely human in origin?
Or could there be something darker?
Something otherworldly.
Something otherworldly influencing the artistic process.
It's a question that has haunted artists and philosophers.
For centuries.
For centuries.
It has. So, dear listener, as we conclude our exploration of these unsettling harmonies,
we
leave you with this final thought.
Okay.
The next time you encounter a piece of music that moves you profoundly,
Yes.
that sends shivers down your spine, that seems to possess a power beyond explanation,
A power beyond explanation.
ask yourself,
Yes.
where did this music come from?
Where did it come from?
What inspired its creation?
What was the source?
What was the source?
Could it be that the true source of such extraordinary art lies not in the realm of the human?
But in something more ancient,
Something more ancient.
more primal,
More primal.
something whispered in the shadows,
Something whispered in the shadows.
something that hints at the enduring connection
Yes, the enduring connection.
between creativity and the forces that dwell beyond the veil.
Beyond the veil.